Welcome everybody to Beyond the Cinema. I am Tyler.
I'm Ethan.
And I am Spencer.
We introduced him on the news.
Yes.
But in case you want to watch just the reviews, Spencer is going to be a permanent part of the Beyond the Cinema cast. He's part of the reason our hiatus went so long, because by the time we got all our tech stuff sorted, he was on his way home. So we
He's
were
been
like,
in Australia for 2 years waiting for Spencer to get home. Spencer's here. We're back. So we're here to talk about Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
the longest title ever. Spencer has not seen this movie, so he couldn't go to the screening.
Yep.
So it's
This
just
is
us.
literally going to be as if he is seeing.
Yes. So as they speak, I am going to be
Reacting.
listening and
Reacting
reacting as if I was visually
Watching
seeing the movie.
I want your
So-
best studio audience impressions.
Okay.
Ooh! Anytime something shocking happens.
Oh, that's funny.
That was basically all the children in the Sonic screening today.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, we'll do non-spoilers first,
and then move into spoiler territory.
So, if you could recall when we talked about the trailer for this movie, and even not the trailer, I just liked mentioning how bad I thought this movie was gonna be. I bring it up a lot. I really liked it.
I told Tyler like the day before we got into the critic screening, and so I was sending Tyler the tickets and stuff, and he was like, "Man, I really hope it's actually good and I'm wrong." And I said, well, Suicide Squad, that movie right there, remember it? I hope you don't. Suicide Squad had some of the most amazing trailers I've ever seen in my life, and it was a horrible movie. Birds of Prey has some really terrible trailers and posters, so maybe it will be a really good movie. And it was a really good movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And so, do you want to do ranking?
I think like things to note beforehand. I think what makes it good. Like every member of the cast kills it. Like Margot Robbie gets better as Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and she was already good.
Really excited to see more from her. Ewan McGregor is incredible as Black Mask. Like he was one thing I was so against. Not him as an actor, but like when we heard like the script leaks and rumors and things like that he was gonna be like a flamboyantly gay man who wears a little teeny black mask and all the fake stuff that like, because those were legit. There are behind the scenes set photos of him with a teeny tiny black mask that only covered his eyes, and like there was a lot about his character being like, I have no problem with like a character like that. It was taking someone like Black Mask and turning them into that.
My thing was that,
but they killed it. It's so good.
My thing is that like you gotta have a balance between it, because if you want a good villain, especially one of his tier, he's gotta have his scenes where he's really, really intimidating, really imposing, unstable, all that stuff. And so I thought, I still got the vibe that he is a gay guy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's for sure, because they even make a joke about like one of the reasons he hates Harley is because she's a woman. Yeah. And they kind of hint a couple times that he is gay.
They don't beat you over the head with it.
But I don't even care about that. What I care about is that he's still scary as a villain, because if he's just like that character the whole time and he's never like imposing, and so he's just like, then you're not really scared of him no matter how many people he shoots. But what made it good is that there's both. Like there's some club scenes like he says "woo" a lot, but
he was having a good time.
Woo! And so he still has some of that there, but then all of a sudden he shifts into other scenes and he's like, you're like, dude, calm down. Like that one scene with the girl, and we'll get into that stuff later. But he is very, very imposing. And I'm all for representation in movies and stuff, and so I didn't mind that at all that he was gay. I thought it was actually pretty cool, but but he's still very, very intimidating.
Well, and yeah, his character, it was like, again, this was me basing like opinion off of promotional material and leaks and things like that.
And those leaks were obviously not full.
But like, well, there were reshoots to like fix
things.
things.
There weren't that many.
There weren't many, but like for example, like on the first poster when we see Black Mask, he's wearing like a skin tight white suit and he's blowing a kiss and there's like a little bird coming out of it, and I was just like, that's not Black Mask. watching it, he's fantastic. He's so good. And because they do, it's a different interpretation of the character, but it's a great interpretation of the character. Because it's not like they're trying to like, they're not, sometimes when people like hear these things, they think they're trying to ruin the character. I personally felt that way when I first like heard the script leaks, things like that. I was like, I have no problem with representation, but I was like, don't ruin one of my favorite Batman villains by like making him a weenie that he's like not scary. But he's so much more frightening because of the way that he is. Like as a character,
it almost makes you feel like you can't peg him down.
No, he's unpredictable.
Yeah, he's super unpredictable. I mean, like, and I love some of the I don't know, I want to talk more about him in the spoiler section.
We will definitely.
I am in love with Black Canary. Oh man. Wow.
Calm down.
I thought she killed it.
She was
she was really, really good. And she's so attractive.
Huntress is definitely in it.
She is in it. She occasionally speaks every once in a while, which is a treat for us.
No, I don't understand.
Was she the Killer Croc of this movie?
Not quite.
No, she was maybe more than Killer Croc.
Oh, okay, that's good.
She was important. She does like
she did
a lot
stuff.
of the defining stuff.
Okay, she
just
stuff.
doesn't say much. She's kind of just there and
people
brooding.
said that like a lot of the initial Twitter reactions was like, she steals the show. I was like, she happens to be in it. Like,
and then my actually least favorite character was, I forget her name, but the cop.
Renee Montoya.
Like her. I get that their entire point. Her whole shtick is that she's kind of like an '80s style cop, but I found that so incredibly annoying. The way she talks the entire time is just cliche. Like she's straight up like, we gotta bring these boys in. Like I was like, stop talking like that. Talk like a person.
Be normal.
So
like,
yeah, I think overall the cast mostly nailed it. It's really good.
the story's pretty awesome.
The story is solid. I think
self-contained.
The pacing of it is a little bit jarring at points. It's without going into like too many details. It kind of pulls like what's a movie where it's like it's told by like Threat Level Midnight. Not comparing it and like saying that it's bad, but like how the whole thing is narrated by Michael Scarn. This whole movie's narrated by Harley Quinn, but she can't tell a linear story because she's crazy and she's Harley Quinn. So she'll be telling the story and then be like, "Oh crap, I forgot,"
and then jump back, jump forward, jump back.
And occasionally it's jarring. Most of the time it makes sense and actually works really well. That like they did a really good job interweaving all the characters into this singular story where you don't feel like anybody's shoehorned or forced in there. Like it's done really well, but there are a couple of moments where
it's
you're like,
mostly when they do them back to back.
Yeah.
Because then it goes on
You
for
forget
such long
where you were
sequences. You
at.
forget where the main plot point is at that moment.
like you forget
where
you
the
are.
current line is.
Yeah.
And so and that's just the problem because you jump back here and then you jump forward a little bit and then jump back again, but you're still here technically in the linear story. So it's just kind of like, whoa, wait. And but otherwise, it was. I really, really dug this movie.
Yeah.
My one grievance is that it is straight up DC Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like,
She is literally Deadpool.
She goes full Deadpool. We're
Full-
talking swearing, sex jokes,
Fourth wall breaking.
making eye contact,
With the
crazy
audience,
narration.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's full Deadpool. And I mean, she makes it her own because no one does Deadpool like Ryan Reynolds, but she does. I do feel like Margot Robbie does Harley Quinn Deadpool sort of thing in a way that only she could.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily a problem with it. It's just something that I feel like a lot of people are going to walk out being like, she was so much like Deadpool.
They just did Deadpool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. So I think ranking it, I 100% say worth a watch. I think of the current DC cinematic universe, excluding Joker, I think it's the best one we've gotten. I say it's
Even
better
more than Man of Steel.
I say it's better than Man of Steel or Shazam. Yeah.
I agree with that. The more I've actually seen the movie twice now, and I liked it even more the second time. It's a really, really bomb movie.
Yeah.
So I would say worth a watch as well. And Spencer is going to agree and nod silently.
It was good.
And so then we move into spoiler territory. You won't believe how many times Ewan McGregor says "woo" in this movie. He says it at least 5. I'm telling you. Just kidding. The joke that really got me in this movie, and I don't know why, it's such a stupid small joke, but I think it's supposed to play off of he came from a rich family, and so occasionally he's almost bratty a little bit, you know. But one of the jokes that really got me is he's showing Black Canary some of his things and some of his collection and stuff like that, like historical artifacts. And he talks about like these one artifacts from like a Congo tribe, and she's like, I've heard it's beautiful. I've heard it's beautiful. And he's like, yeah, it's dirty, and then walks away. And then shows her like a shrunken heads, and he goes over the whole process of how they make them, and then goes, these guys are thousands of years old. Look at his little ears and look at their little haircut. And then you're all like, what is going on? And then he goes, they're 1,000 years old, and now they're just an ornament in my living room. Ew. Like,
I love it. He's like,
I love it. It's so funny. Just his like comedic timing in that. Ew, I love it. It's like his comedic timing is so good in that sequence. Like I laughed so hard. And then with the whole diamond thing, because that's kind of the plot device is
a diamond that has a bunch of microscopic big
encoding
numbers carved onto it from like a previous Gotham mob crime family or whatever.
Right. And their fortune and stuff like that. And,
everyone's after the diamond. That's the
yeah, exactly. And Black Mask is at the front of that. And because he's the one who managed to actually track it down and was getting it shipped to him, when it gets stolen by Cassandra Cain, he's really upset, and he starts going off about how he's like, these are my things. Why that diamond is my thing? Why don't other people understand what are my things? And he's like throwing pillows and stuff at random people who are just informing him.
That's my one of my favorite things. Whenever he gets bad news, he always just like starts throwing things at him. He's like, "Get out! Get out! Like, F off! Get out of here!"
Even if they're just telling him the news, and he still just throws pillows and stuff. And the best part though is because then it goes from that where that's like, oh my gosh, this guy is like a baby, and then all of a sudden it goes to him ordering people's faces to be cut off, and it's like,
whoa.
And it shows most of it. Like you see the knife go all the way around, and then it cuts to the back, and you see Victor Zsasz go from the behind, and all of a sudden he's holding the face, and it's like, and then they don't show the people.
So there's this scene. I think this sums up Black Mask perfectly as a character. So he like is interrogating this guy for not making a deal with him or whatever, cuts off his face, and then like has his wife's like face cut off as well, and then their like daughter's hanging there,
the teenage daughter,
and he like takes her,
she's sobbing.
She
watched her parents have their faces,
and he like
cut
takes the tape off her mouth, and he's like, okay, we've sent enough of a message, like she can live, whatever. And then suddenly he's like, ew, is that a snot bubble? Oh, gross. And he walks away and he's like, change my mind, peel it off.
Because he had a snot bubble.
Yeah.
And so, and then he gets in the car after that and has like a little fleck of blood on his hand, on his glove, and he's like, ew, and then wipes it. And he just ordered people's faces to get cut off. And so
he's
he's a trip. And Harley Quinn is, I'm happy to say she's kind of the highlight of her own movie, because it is a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah, no, it's not a Birds of Prey movie.
I mean, they're in it, but
it's emancipation of Harley Quinn and
one
the Birds of
Harley
Prey.
Quinn.
So
and
Harley
the Birds
Quinn
of
and
Prey.
Friends.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, it was more of an introduction movie for the Birds of Prey,
because
so that they can get their own spin-off movie later.
They aren't united until the last 20 minutes.
Right,
like,
and
they think they're after each other.
I also didn't have a problem with it, because she is such a weirdly likable and insane and erratic character that it's just so fun to watch her.
Yeah.
I gotta praise, we talked about this, but her hyena Bruce is like, it's incredible. It is an art of CGI, because it's actually a dog.
It was done by Weta. They're the best.
And they CGI'd it into a hyena, and I literally turned to Tyler.
He's like, wow, I can't believe they got a real hyena
for this.
I'm like, it's not, it's a dog.
And I was
there's behind the scenes video online.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, it's crazy.
And so, and I was a little bummed. The CGI is so good that I think it was probably too expensive to keep it in it for so long. Because like, he's in it for like the first 20 minutes, and then they make you think he's dead during an explosion, and then he appears in the last like 5, and she's like, I just found him walking around Chinatown, and it's like, oh, good. Good.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, well, as long as he was there. And so, it just looked awesome. Like it looked like a real hyena. I don't know.
The fight choreography is spectacular.
Insane.
I think like I found myself the final fight with everyone. I found was a little bit dry for me.
I think it wouldn't have been if it weren't for how awesome the other fights were.
Yeah,
the Harley Quinn
the police station. Oh my goodness!
So Harley Quinn goes into this police station to track down Cassandra Cain because she swallowed the diamond, and which leads to a whole bunch of stuff where she tries to give her prune juice and laxatives and all that stuff. But she's trying to find it. But first she has to get through all the officers and stuff. And she comes in dressed like an old timey like flapper.
Yeah, they show it in the trailer, and so she's got an M80 grenade launcher, but then like her grenade shells are like full of glitter and like confetti and paint and stuff like that. And then she just takes down the entire GCPD with like these glitter bombs and like.
And the best part is she walks up and she's like, "I'm here to report a terrible crime," and then winks at him, and she's like, and he's like a police officer that wants to kill himself, and he's like, "What crime?" And then she's like, This one. And just whips off her coat and just pulls out the gun and blows his glasses off his face with like a confetti launcher.
Yeah.
And then she just goes through, and then all of a sudden all the other inmates get released. And at this point, Black Mask has also put a bounty out on Cassandra Cain's head. And so all the other inmates know and are trying to like hunt Cassandra Cain down. And she's with Harley Quinn at this point. And so she fights him. And there's one point where a guy goes to kick her, and he kicks into a car window, and his foot is stuck, and she grabs her mallet and breaks his leg, and then he's trying to pull his leg out because it's broken.
Breaks his other leg,
and
she hits it again,
and then it cripples it, and so he's stuck. And then she beats it back into place and walks off. So she breaks his leg 3 times.
Oh, man.
She breaks one leg twice and the other one once.
Okay, and I love that bit with the cocaine. So it's happening in an evidence locker, and like she takes cover behind it. They're shooting at it, and all the cocaine's coming around her. And then she like looks around, and she's like, and then she goes out like.
I also need to see your pupils get like huge.
Yeah, she just goes out and like beats the crap out of them. It's really good.
Yeah.
So the fight
at one point, like the cop, I can't remember her name.
Renee Montoya.
Renee Montoya gets her at gunpoint, and she has a phone in her hand, and she goes, "Put down the phone," and she goes, "Oh, okay," and then throws it up in the air and flips and kicks it, and it hits Renee Montoya in the head and knocks her out, and then she just drives off. Wow. It is like such a stylized and unique movie. Like everything about it just felt like it was an actual like filmmaker making a movie they wanted to make.
Yeah,
like, it just felt like like it's funny and it's unique and it's like spunky or whatever, but I feel like it's very stylized. It has a lot of art to it too.
One, Warner Brothers has learned their lesson finally.
Yes.
That's why this was good. That's why Joker was good. It's why Shazam was good. Mm-hmm. Because Warner Brothers realized that the second they meddle with it, they're going to mess it up. And if you let the filmmakers, if you let the creatives do what they're wanting to do, it's good. And Birds of Prey is a perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. Like, its R rating is used so well without, like, being over the top. Because sometimes I personally find Deadpool over the top. I felt this was perfect. Like, I just think that, like, the ability to allow the filmmaker to do what they want allowed them to make something really good. If they tried to meddle and make this PG-13 and make this so everyone could watch it, make it so every audience could enjoy it, this would have been a mess.
My thing is that I don't think Deadpool's over the top, but now that he is joining the MCU, I have that worry of like now Deadpool is synonymous with swearing and sex jokes and hardcore violence and stuff like that. Like that's just who he is as a character. Now that's what you think of when you think of Deadpool. Those like key traits. They did, and so now that he's joining the MCU, and we're gonna have to face whether or not he's gonna be R-rated. That worries me because then I'm gonna be like, you're gonna be going off of what makes him good as a character. You're gonna have to do something really clever to kind of cover that up. With Harley Quinn, they actually did it just right, where it's still R and it's still a pretty hard R rating, but I didn't feel like she couldn't hop back into a PG-13 rating like in the Suicide Squad, which I imagine is going to be PG-13. However, knowing James Gunn, it's kind of a toss-up. But if she goes back to a PG-13 movie, it's not going to feel completely like she was just like this. You're like completely neutering the character, and you can tell that she's now in a PG-13 movie, And so I thought that was handled really well in a place where like there's still transference over between the kind of genres where there's more hardcore movies, less softcore movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So Birds of Prey is definitely worth seeing. I'd say
it's awesome.
100%. Like for the DCEU, I think this is.
I think I'd agree that it's my favorite of the DCU. So far.
This is the kind of thing that can make DC like rise above Marvel, because Marvel plays it safe with everything they do. DC
cut.
Okay, no, it's true. And like, but this Birds of Prey was like, it was a risk. Like it really was, and it totally paid off to give us something really unique and really enjoyable.
It's good.
And so, like, I'm very excited to see what the future of the DC universe. I'm excited now. I used to always be like, man, I really am a big DC fan, and I like the idea of doing these movies, but I always have to go into it really hesitant because of like what's been
How bad
before
they've
it.
been. Yeah.
But now, like with what we've been given with Shazam and Joker and Birds of Prey, like I'm really excited for the future. Like now these things that are coming out, the Batman and all this kind of stuff, I'm like stoked. I'm really excited. Because this is how it should be done.
Also, don't let people lie to you. There's no post-credit scene. It's all Harley Quinn just
Skip
going.
it.
She goes, "You idiots are still here," and it's like, "Well, yeah, we were told there's a post-credit scene." And then she's like, and it's just a voiceover. It's not even a scene. And she's like, "Well, fine. I'll give you something then. I'll tell you a big secret. Batman
and
is
it
actually
cuts.
and then it cuts.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're gonna say Bruce Wayne. We know that. Your universe doesn't know that. Come on."
Yeah.
And that's
That was it?
That's it.
That's not a scene.
No, it isn't.
It's rubbish.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's all. But other than that, it's an awesome movie. I really, really liked it.
Yep. So that is Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. It's almost as bad as The Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
I don't know. I feel like Birds of Prey is a longer title.
Birds of Prey and the Emancipation.
Birds of Prey and the fantabulous
throws it off.
emancipation of one Harley Quinn versus. So that was
The Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh yeah, so that's a way shorter title.
Yeah, true.
Man, brutal.
That's a mouthful.
Anyways, lots of long titles today, but I think that's where we
We'll leave that
draw
there.
to a close.
So thank you for watching. We're going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. It's going to be posted a couple days later. That way we're not just dropping a bunch of videos on you guys all at once. But we'll have it out before the movie releases. So make sure to be keeping an eye out for that. We'll go from there.
Thank you for being with us.